It's 3:42 on February 18th, and this vlog is my attempt to force myself to actually be productive and run my business because I'm a procrastinator.
Professional procrastinator.
And that means I need something to hold me accountable, like this 48-hour vlog.
So I have 10 tasks and the deadline is February 20th.
Starting out, my first task really needs to be sending a wholesale order, but I have this issue where if there's a flat surface, I will set something on it, which means I actually have to clean up after myself before I can do that. They say a cluttered space leads to a cluttered mind. That visual clutter competes for our attention. It's funny how our little human brains work. Somehow, when my studio is messy, I don't have room for good ideas or to focus. And for some reason, I always imagine it to be a harder task than it actually is. But then, just 30 minutes of putting stuff away and suddenly I can concentrate. No more digging through random piles to find what I need. Another task I always put off? Cleaning my Cricut mats. Once they get dusty, the vinyl stops sticking, which is obviously a problem. I'm not sure what the best way to clean them is, but so far, dish soap and a gentle scrub have done the trick. Once those were dry, it was time to move on to task number 2, the wholesale order. This order, like most of my wholesale orders, was entirely stickers going to an adorable small business. And even better is that this one was a reorder for an art supply store. Reorders are one of the biggest compliments a small business owner can get. It means people aren't just interested in my work, they actually love it enough to come back again for more. And knowing that it's going to an art shop for other artists to buy my designs is extra special. One of my favorite things about artists and small business owners is how much we support each other. We're all passionate about creating and shopping small and genuinely want to see each other succeed. While the Cricut was doing its thing of cutting out the stickers, I did a bit more cleaning, watered my plants, and then I just had to show off this motorized dolly that my husband got me for Christmas. I'm excited to play around with this and get some cool shots for my videos. Then, once all 80 stickers were ready, I packaged them up into this box, created a label, and it was ready to be sent to the post office. Somehow it's already been almost 3 hours of work and the sun has already set, but I did manage to get 3 tasks done. So as you can tell, it is much cleaner in here. There's actually space for stuff, just as long as we ignore this corner. I am not dealing with that today. Second, I got my wholesale order packed, and third, I tested out my matte laminate finally. Here's the glossy one I usually do, and then here's the matte one. There's more contrast to the glossy one, but something about the matte one just feels like really professional. Also, while I was cleaning, I kept coming across things that I had forgotten about, which would have been useful for my store relaunch that happened just the other day. In case you don't know, my store is only going to be open for a certain amount of times. Right now, it's going to be open until the 8th. And I added some new products on there, but I forgot about this stuff. I don't know which of these things are actually worth my time, so you tell me which ones are your favorite. I have a few of these blank maroon and blue faux leather journals. I've engraved some brown ones before, and it seems like people like them. I know they're cool to look at, I just don't know if people actually would want them. Next up, I have these framed mini art prints of mine. They're magnets that you can put on the fridge. I do love them, but they take quite a bit more effort to make than other things. Then I also have just plain engraved wooden magnets that I made. If I was going to do these ones, I think I'd make them bigger, like 3 inches or so. Then I have these engraved acrylic pickles. I made them into earrings and keychains and they did well at the pickle festival, but I don't know if they do well normally on my website. I also tried messing with shrink plastic because I thought this would be a fun way to make keychains and things like that, but they're a bit difficult to cut out and I haven't tried using UV resin on them yet. I also have more color options in leatherette, but darker colors are harder to do because you have to invert them and my designs aren't made for that. So these are just little tests I did, and then I also did a little test of one of my bookmarks that I thought was so cute I just had to hold on to it, and I'm kind of curious if I could actually turn that into a keychain or something. Lastly, I tried making earrings, mostly wooden earrings, for my markets last year, and that is something I could add to my website, but who knows. Let's say out of all of these things I've just shown you, you could only pick one to be your favorite. Let me know which one it would be. So by the time I took the wholesale order to the post office and made some dinner for myself, it was already 10:30 p.m. But I still had another task for the day, and that was drawing my concepts for my Patreon sticker club. So I'm just gonna go watch one of the shows I've been binging and work on these ideas. This owl is the one that won last month, but I'm excited about the 3 ideas I came up with for this month's. Good morning. So it actually did end up snowing almost 2 inches last night, which is enough to shut down Tennessee roads.
So I'm glad I took that order to the post office last night, and that's taken care of because I don't plan to go onto the icy roads today. So far, I've spent the morning kind of brainstorming a painting and YouTube idea. That was kind of a little rabbit hole I went down. That is not a task that I was supposed to be working on, but I just had an idea and I needed to jot down some of those ideas. I also went through some of my emails and I got one that was a little bit disappointing. As I mentioned, I just relaunched my website the other day, and one of the new items I had was a sweatshirt. And the sweatshirt is going to cost too much for me to be able to do. For me to actually be able to sell these and make a profit, I would need to sell them for like $60 to $65, and I don't think you guys want that, so I'm not gonna do that. I'm not willing to give up on the comfort color sweatshirts, which are also a little bit more expensive. I would never sell Gildan shirts. I would never do that to you guys. So instead, I'm gonna have to rethink the design and make it a little smaller, which means that's another task for this 48 hours. But before I get to that, let's move on to task number 4. I have a lot of stuff that I made for my art markets last year that I don't want to keep selling in my stores. For example, this shirt was made using a transfer, and usually I do shirts screen printed. So I just want to sell this at a discounted rate on my website, and I need to get that up on there. What do y'all think of this color, by the way? I sell these in periwinkle usually, but this one's purple. It's not that like transfers are awful or anything. The shirt that I'm wearing was actually made with a transfer and I wear it all the time. It's held up very well. But I do want to sell my shirts that were made with a transfer at a lower price than the shirts that are going to be made with screen printing. This would make a great gift for someone that loves to read fantasy books. Just saying. I know people buy shirts like this all the time, but I personally don't like the texture of the transfers. They're just not soft enough, in my opinion. But the thing with transfers that is nice is you can get colors like this. And that's something I can't really do with screen printing unless I want to pay like a ton of money for it, which I don't. But I don't think it bothers that many people. It's just personal preference on my part mostly, and I would rather sell screen printed shirts.
So I took photos of all those items that I plan to add to my site, and now I'm just doing an inventory to see which things have already been made. One thing I've learned over the years that has helped me grow as a business owner is to constantly learn. So this is where I want to take a moment to thank Skillshare for sponsoring this video and for supporting my channel. In case you don't know, Skillshare is one of the largest online learning communities for creatives with thousands of classes led by industry experts from drawing and design to marketing, productivity, and more. And I think you can tell from my saved classes here that I've been focused on ways to improve my workflow to actually get things done. And I know I'm not the only one that struggles with procrastination and productivity, but I think having the right tools and resources makes a huge difference, which I think Skillshare is great for helping with. Whether you're looking to streamline your business, build better habits, or just find ways to stay organized, there are classes for every stage of your creative journey. Right now, I'm personally taking Just Start 5 Exercises That Lead to Big Wins by Rich from Tap Tap Kaboom, which has been really helpful in teaching me how to consistently go after the things I really want to do without getting overwhelmed. A goal of mine for 2025 is to run my business more efficiently, which honestly means learning to say no and to be okay with slow consistency. Like as Rich describes it, the tortoise from the tortoise and the hare. Skillshare is definitely helping me get there, and if you're looking to do the same, now is the perfect time to start. The first 500 people to use the link in my description will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. So now that I've inventoried everything that I'm not going to restock and the big grade items, I'm moving over to the computer to edit my listings. Also, while I was doing this, I realized I'd never tried printing out this drawing of a dragon I had made. So I decided to try doing that, but of course I was out of ink. So instead of printing it on my Pro 300 that I usually use for art prints, I did it on my other printer, and I think it turned out good. I guess I will add this to my website. Also, while I was on my computer, I went ahead and designed my first newsletter to send out. People have been subscribing to my newsletters for years now, but this is my first newsletter that I'm actually sending out. What even is time? Somehow it's already 5:30, and I'm so bad at time management, but I still think I'm gonna get all of my 10 tasks done for the 48 hours, so I guess that's fine. And now I'm going to test out some liquid stuff to help me do inkjet prints on wood. So the owner of InkAid sent me these bottles to try out since I have this M1 Ultra, and this makes total sense that the printing onto wood would be better once you do a pre-coat like this, because that's the way paper works too. There's also a coating on paper for inkjet printing. So the last thing I'm doing tonight is just prepping this piece of scrap wood so that I can make some prints tomorrow once these pre-coats have dried.
Good morning, we are getting close to the end of my 48 hours and I still have 4 tasks left, plus that sweatshirt design that I probably will not get done. So let's just go ahead and work on these test prints instead.
Ignore the fact that I overlapped these designs, that was my fault. But you can see how crisp these prints actually are now. This one is the matte, and it definitely shows up well on there. And then this one is the clear coat. I am wondering if I was supposed to sand it all between coats because this is very rough feeling. And then the other thing I'm noticing is that my design seems like it's almost pixelated, like the colors are a little weird and it's very grainy. But I don't think that has anything to do with the ink aid, I think that that is the printer. These here on the back are actually ones without the coating, and you can tell that they're much more smudged and stuff, but the graininess is still there, so that's definitely the printer and not the ink aid. I read that this could be used on non-porous items, so I decided to put a coat of it on acrylic and see how it did. This first one had a lot of bubbles in it, and so it can be scratched off easily, but the other ones are like so impressive. You can see right here there was a gap where I didn't have any coating onto the acrylic, and that part smeared, but the other parts it like actually printed on, which is really cool. With a coat of something like polyurethane to protect it, I think that these wouldn't scratch off at all, and it'd be a really cool option for some different product ideas.
It definitely does help in the way that it's supposed to, the main way, because the side that doesn't have it is so much more smeared, whereas this side is nice and crisp. I'm gonna keep playing around with this stuff in the future, not today, but one of the ways I was thinking of using it is for these little pre-made wooden booklets. If I could put it on here and then print on here, I think that'd be pretty cool. This stuff is called Ink Aid if you're curious about it and you have an M1 Ultra and wanna try it out.
So with that task done, I realized I need to go back to my Patreon task because I hadn't finished it yet. So here are the designs that I came up with, and I'm just consolidating them into one file so that I can put them on my Patreon so that people can vote on which one they want for the month. I'm a little biased because I haven't drawn a possum before, but I'm really hoping that one wins so I get to finish it up and turn it into a sticker.
So currently I just started laying out some of my sketchbooks and stuff because I want to get like a photo to be a new banner photo. I don't have any good like banner photos for YouTube and on my website and stuff of my actual artwork. So that's what I'm working on. But yeah, I do kind of need this camera to take the photo.
Here's some of the layouts I did of my more recent stuff, some of my favorites and such. If you haven't already, definitely go check out my plein air painting video because it's a fun one. But yeah, I actually was a responsible adult, and after I finished taking some photos, I cleaned everything up and had a clean desk again. Like, imagine that.
I don't know what it is about taking like aesthetic photos of like my artwork and sketchbooks or like flat lays and stuff like that, but I find it really hard. It's one of my least favorite tasks because I just always get frustrated trying to do it. Hopefully I got some good shots though. So my last task for this 48 hours is going to be recording some social media videos. So this is probably a good time to tell you that I'm in the process of planning a video about making videos. So if you have any questions about how I film or plan my own videos, my YouTube videos, my social media videos, whatever it is, leave them in the comments and I will try to answer them in the next video. I know this wasn't the most glamorous studio vlog, but I hope you enjoyed it anyways. Thanks for watching.